one of the reasons that I'm against bringing drag queens into schools is because I think that let's assume it's a very non-sexual, like the Nina West Blues Clues one, where it's like it's not the worst version of it. Okay, my issue is that that seems to reinforce sexual stereotypes and gender binaries. How is that an inclusive form of education? How does that teach kids, hey, if you're a boy or you're a female, or if you're a boy and you like to play with dolls and you like wear pink, and if you're a girl and you like to play with trucks and you like to wear blue, you can do any of that. It doesn't matter. But when drag queens are brought into the fold, it's kind of like, oh, this is a person being a queen, being a female. And what it means to be female is, well, what makes them a drag queen is all of their, flamboyant kind of accentuated features. And it's like, how is that anything but regressive in terms of teaching kids that gender is a spectrum and you can be anything you want and you don't need to exaggerate any sort of stereotypical characteristics?
Well, the thing is, a lot of people enjoy exaggerating those characteristics or leaning into those characteristics. Okay. I know a lot of, for example, I know people who are gay, and they're stereotypically gay. You know what I mean? They've got this, their voice sounds gay, and you know what I mean when I say that.
Wow, I didn't say it. He did. Clip him. He said it, not me.
Well, yeah, it's me, Hateful Dylan coming out again. Andrew's converted me. There's all this other stuff, right? Like that is very clearly presenting as queer, and even stereotypically queer. But if that's what they want to be and how they want to present themselves, I think that's up to them.
That has nothing to do with the question I asked you.
But you said, well, I don't like if somebody leans into something that you could be considered a stereotype, as long as that's how they want to present themselves. I'm generally
we're not talking
fine
about
with
whether or not it's good for the drag artist. We're talking about whether or not is it not a good thing for children to be taught that gender is socially constructed in part, and that it is a spectrum, and there are males who can be, who can like pink or whatever, all the stereotypes. Males can do whatever girls want on average, and females can do whatever boys want on average. How are the drag queens helping push that message and not doing the exact opposite of saying, oh, well, I'm a man dressed in a woman, I'm a queen, and this is what makes me the queen. I'm a drag queen because of all this stuff. It seems like you're reinforcing
If anything, I think it does the exact opposite. Because if it's a man dressing as a woman, it's saying, if anything, you're rejecting, like, hey, as a man, you don't have to wear a jean jacket and smoke all the time and chop lumber and kill people in wars.
Okay,
you can,
you think that message is problematic?
Yes, you do. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, guys.
You gotta let me finish. You gotta let me finish my point. You don't got to do that. If you want to be feminine, if you want to wear a big poofy hair, wear makeup, if you want to trance around and do that, and that's how you want to present yourself, that's how you want to perform, that's how you want to engage. And when it comes to art, you want to engage in a way that's not traditionally masculine, you're allowed to do that as a man or as a woman or as anybody. You're allowed to play with these aspects of gender and presentation in any way you want, because you're a free human being. If anything, drag is an unbelievably accepting art form. It is very, very accepting. Definitely when it comes to how people want to present themselves. If I wanted to go to a drag show and present in a very feminine way that, isn't how I would usually present somewhere else, I'm positive they would accept me. And if anything, I think that's more breaking gender norms, not reinforcing them.
You're buying even the way that you described it. If I present it in a more feminine way, or I can embrace whatever characters, it's like, yes, I agree. We should be teaching kids. They're like males and females. Yeah, obviously there's a biological reality to that, and there's always going to be permanent differences between males and females. But when it comes to how you dress and all that, it's like you can pretty much have leeway. But again, and unless you are really going to destroy the definition of drag completely and say, well, there's non-binary drag performers where they literally just dress up in there's no gender bending at all. It's just pure non-binary. It's like, that's not drag at all.
You're saying gender bending's harmful for children because it reinforces stereotypes.
If it's done stereotypically like drag does, yes.
What do you mean done stereotypically? Wait, well, the thing is, some people just end up being stereotypical. That just happens, and you present yourself stereotypically. When you do characters, they are stereotypical. That can happen.
Okay.
Like there are going to be women in the world who are blonde hair, blue eyed, just housewife, just making the pie, and that's just who they are. That's how they present, and that's how they present themselves.
There is not a single drag queen that unless find me an example, and I'm genuinely curious. Maybe not now, but someone in your audience watching can pull up an example, and I'll appreciate it. Find me what is an example of a drag queen that is not embodying stereotypically female characteristics, that isn't just a clown. To be a drag queen is to embody stereotypically female characteristics. Otherwise, she's not a drag queen. So
Well,
yes,
number one, it
that's
doesn't need to
literally
just
what
be a
they're
clown.
doing.
There's a lot of drag that isn't just clownish. A lot of it is like very much like a lot of drag performers try to look as beautiful as possible. Like I'm gonna try to
In a
look like Marilyn,
stereotypically female way.
and I'm gonna try to look like Marilyn Monroe, and they try to recreate Marilyn Monroe's
Okay.
outfits and stuff like that. And they try to and you can say it's stereotypically female. My response to that is
I don't see why kids need to be taught this versus just
let me ask you a question. Let's say
Please do.
there's a movie that I was gonna play in a classroom, and it had a father, and by God, I can't believe this, and a mother, and 2 kids, a dog, and a white picket fence. Straight family, Christian family, right? They go to church every Sunday, and you want to know what? Before their meals, they say grace. Say grace, right? That is a stereotypical kind of family in the United States. Do you think if we played a movie in a television, like a show to children that showed that family, that would be harmful because it's reinforcing stereotypes? I would say no. I would say that's fine to show children.
I would say it's I mean you're describing it. The picture you've described is probably different. The way that you made it sounds like if it was like a very clear, like this is a Christian family and this is the good thing. I would say no, that's actually kind of ideologically pushing a Christian normative framework, explicitly Christian one, and I don't think that should actually be the norm.
I didn't give any moral designation to it. I'm just saying, do you think that that's fine to show to children? Because like a drag show isn't saying this is what you should go do. This is the big good thing to do. Everybody should go be a drag performer.
That's not the case. If the same images and themes and archetypes are presented over and over again, indicates that's normalizing. That's literally what it does. It's normalizing the ability for people to go and present in this art form. But the thing is, when you do a drag performance, you are entering a make-believe world. It's make-believe land. Nobody's sitting there like, wow, that's how they actually. You're entering a play. Basically, you're entering like a performance, and during plays and performances, there are a lot of exaggerations and playing into like stereotypes. And there's going to be people who's like the stereotypical housewife and the stereotypical this, and they're going to play into things we see in society. Because you want to know what? A lot of stereotypes you can see in society. Okay, good. Like all of that we should allow kids to play and they should be allowed to play whatever imaginary roles. We do not need drag queens in the premise to facilitate that imagination.
Well, I'm not saying you need drag queens to facilitate imagination. Wait. You gotta let me respond.
You're right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not saying you need it to engage with people's imagination, but if the idea is that by having drag performances we're going to reinforce sexist stereotypes about women, I find that that's silly, because I do also think that that people can generally tell, definitely when you have parents there that can easily explain that, oh, this is a drag performance, this is a character, like if somebody came in and like played a pirate like arg, it's not gonna I don't think that's gonna confuse children too much, even if he's playing into like a stereotype about pirate or any stereotype. I don't see any harm being done to children even if they're playing into stereotypes in any way.
Okay.